This is Trumpeter's 1/32 scale A-6A Intruder. The model has, it's designed pretty much to be built with the wings glued, folded, or down. And of course all the other features on the models are designed really to be glued in place. The kit itself had pretty good fit and finish. There was some issues with it. The nose radome, for example, was designed to actually be either be glued in the open position if you had the radar exposed. Okay. If you wanted the nose closed, you didn't install the radar, because as it is now, it won't fit with the radar in place. It just won't hold in place. So that to me was a flaw that I thought in the kit that I didn't like.
Yeah.
I decided.
On the real boat, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I decided to since the kit was so nicely detailed and they give you so much interior detail in the model, I decided to make it into a diorama. And the diorama here depicts an A-6A that's been battle damaged and is below deck of a carrier being repaired. The figures are all, I can't remember the name of the figures now. They're from the Ukraine. They're the only guys that do multi-pose figures in 32nd scale. Most of them, as you know, are in 35th scale.
Mini art?
No, it's not. It's
ICM?
ICM. Thank you, ICM. They're really, really nice figures. They go together very well, and they give you different arm positions and different accessories to put on.
Looks Ukrainian.
Yeah, yeah. The markings are depicting an airplane from the USS Constellation, and the outfit was the first outfit to take A-6As. And when they flew every version of the A-6A, and when they pretty much, when they went detached or got put land-based, and they were actually based here at Whidbey Island, yeah, before they went to the four-seater version, and then they completely got disbanded and disappeared. But they flew every version, and any conflict from the Vietnam War onward, they were in it. That unit was in it.
What's the fan popped up in there for?
That is a rat. It's a ram air turbine. What it does is that it pops out when you get an engine flame out in flight, because Navy airplanes don't carry batteries. So if you have to start the airplane in flight when you get a flame out, you push on a lever which hydraulically and pneumatically pops this ram air turbine out. It windmills and generates electrical power for the ignition system, so you can get your engines to
So
start.
it's like an APU, onboard APU.
It's actually the predecessor of the APU, and the Navy swore by them because again, they did not like batteries. For some reason, it wasn't so much of the weight, because the ram air turbine and all the associated stuff that goes with it weighs more than a 60-pound lead acid battery. But for some reason, the Navy was never big on batteries. Anybody who's ever worked F-4 Phantoms as a crew chief would know, and that is the most horrible job to change a battery on an F-4, because it's underneath the console of the aft cockpit, and it's down below here, and you got to disconnect the rudder pedal and take half the console part just to get to the battery. Because again, the Navy made them, it's a Navy airplane, and they never had batteries.
And who made the kit?
This is Trumpeter. This is the instruction sheets here, and this is their flag.
Who?
Trumpeter. They come from China.
Trumpeter, okay.
Yeah.
Who was the other guys that made the kit came 48, weren't they? Who made it?
Monogram.
Monogram. Well, Monogram did one in 48, I think, but Tamiya made a 48 scale model of an A6 as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I love the plane. I thought I was always been a fan of the A6s and the A6Bs. Two of the coolest planes.
Here, does this come off here? I did not glue the airplane down because I wanted to show the bottom.
Oh, that's a really
Because I wanted to show the battle damage to the doors and onto the engine. And you see the oil pan and everything below it, all the oil.
Yeah.
I mean, all this detail that's in, with the exception of the shrapnel holes and things like that, and the electrical wiring that I added to the kit, this kit is pretty much out of the box.
Wow.
Over 350 parts or something like that.
When
This
did
kit.
the kit come out?
This one came out in the early 2000s, I think.
Wow.
Did you get enough?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Beautiful. Beautiful aircraft.
How
So
was
the
it?
remove him before flight?
Streamers,
Flares came with
they
it?
did not come with the kit.
Okay.
They come with the Tamiya 32nd scale kits. And I was lucky when I got my Tamiya 32nd scale F4E. You get a sheet that's got like 50 of them that you got to cut out and trim. I wound up with 2 sheets. So I used them, and as you, you know, if you guys ever worked on these older airplanes, they had hundreds of remove before flight streamers installed to make the airplane safe for maintenance. And actually, the Navy didn't do anywhere near as much as the Air Force did. But I decided, you know, to add all the streamers were appropriate for an airplane that was going to go below deck to be repaired.
Beautiful
That's
job.
pretty
Beautiful
much
job.
it.
Yeah, beautiful job.
The paintwork is all hand done, no airbrush. The Model Masters enamel, that's all I use. The decals are from Cartograph, and as you know, Cartograph makes fabulous decals. As long as you keep them wet, you can move them anywhere you want. Once you take them off the paper onto the model, you can slide them around anywhere as long as you keep them wet. Once you pat them down, they're going to stay in place, and they just require a simple coat of Walther's decal setting solution, and they blend right in. They'll melt right in.
Yeah, they snug down nice, don't
Yeah, they do. They do. If you look very, very closely, though, you'll find there is still flash, or what they call silvering, around the edges. They're supposed to be there, because on the real airplanes, they're decals. They're not spray painted with a stencil. They actually have a decal that's got thousands of holes in it. They peel the back off it. It's got an adhesive on it. They put it on, and before they do, they spray it with Windex so they can move it around and center it, and then
Squeegee.
they squeegee it out. I can say that because I used to do that on Air Force airplanes as a crew chief.
Jim told that story too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Oh, keyword
F4
story.
sees it, Luke.
Yeah.
Multiple times I've heard that story.
So any problems making the kit?
Yeah, well, there was one problem. Fitting the wings on to the main wing for the folded position presented several fit problems, because there's like 16 to 18 parts. You look at the instruction sheets, where to put the folding wings on, and for some reason, the parts, when you first install them and dry fit them, they didn't line up right. I had to use a lot of filing in between the hinge tangs to get them to fit. And even then, when I finally got them to fit to the point where they were, I didn't really notice it until later when the wings were on and dry, is that they're not perfectly, they're off center. They're not off center. And I was told by a guy that worked these in the Navy, says, the real ones are not centered either. I said, oh, good. So I didn't have to worry about that. That was really the only real difficult part, was getting the wings folded. If you build the airplane with the wings flat, you omit all of this stuff, and you just glue the tangs on straight, and no fit problems. They make an A-6E that flew in the Gulf War, in the 91 Gulf War, and I'm going to get that kit if I can find it. Trumpeter, because it's been discontinued. And that one I will build with the wings down. And that one fought in the 91 Gulf War, the same identical unit. Only the unit is all subdued. It's not. It's in the light gray tones. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm going to go get that kit.
I wish somebody would do a wing fold for a 72nd scale plane, you know?
Well, some aftermarket, some 72nd scale models, if they're large enough, they do wing fold kits. They're usually resin, and you
Yeah.
have to.
You have to saw the model.
Yeah, you got to do a lot of handwork on the model to get there.
When you build a Navy plane, to me, the wings got to be folded, because that's the thing about Navy
Oh,
planes.
yeah.
Other than that, it's a plane.
Well, even Tamiya now, they're coming out with the Carrier Zeros and stuff like that, and they have the wingtip that folds up, and now they're starting to include that in the Tamiya kits.
That's right.
Before they were all fixed flat.
And one of the planes, the tail folded too. I can't remember because it was so tall. I can't remember which plane it was though.
Oh, the tail, the vertical stabilizer folded to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell is it?
P-52?
No. Was it the Vigilante?
Or maybe the
What was the Vigilante? The A5. I think that had a very tall tail, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that one had to be folded if it went below deck. The tail had to be folded down to the side. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head, and I'm not even certain about that.
Anybody see the new the Top Gun movie?
Yes.
So what I hate, it's so fucking stupid. You stand there, the elevator comes down, he steps out, and texts him. Yeah, they give everybody an elevator ride one at a time, right? Yeah.
Sure. When you're a Navy
Did you notice when that was all animated, by the way, the carrier scene? That's all animated. Did you notice what was missing on the elevator?
Yeah.
The stumbling rods.
Yeah.
They pop up when the elevator was down.
Oh, he was on the hangar deck when he got on.
I know, when he was coming up, you could still see the
yeah,
things
they'll
come
come
down.
up, yeah.
When he came up, they were already gone. So.